I hadn't
Oh
seen that
my
yet.
god.
That was not what I was expecting coming out from our biggest French speaker. Not a whole lot of what entire nation is going on here, Mark. He doesn't even win the game.
The funny thing, every time I realize and remember that Mazel is actually from Texas, like he has French heritage because that's where his dad's family comes from, but he was pretty much born and raised in Texas. So I've never seen a combination of a Southern Texan French guy before, and he just dips into both so seamlessly. But we have another wonderful host that seems to dip seamlessly into multiple personalities. It is Kangas. Kangas, where are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy to be here. I'm not alternate personality right now, Rafa. I hate to break it to you, because today on the Face It TV stream, you already know that we got another game show prepared for all of you. So we did this last week, and we're going to do it again. We're bringing up Pixel Perfect yet again, where we break down what happened in that last game and test which caster remembers moments better. Is it play-by-play casters, or is it color casters? So I'm putting you both to the test. Joshi, Cubby kicked Rafa's butt last time, high bar to reach. So this time I'm actually going to put you in the hot seat. Now, if we can get the graphic up so we can explain what the rules are. I have 6 screenshots throughout the game.
Okay.
2 of them are 16-bit. You can understand that one a little bit better. Those ones are worth 1 point. 2 of them are 8-bit, a little more zoomed in, harder to understand what's happening. Those are worth 2 points. And then 1-bit is so zoomed in that it's difficult for you to really tell what's happening on the screen there. And those ones are worth 3 points. So you get to choose which one you want to start with, which category it's going to be. Joshi, are you taking 16-bit? Are you taking 8-bit? Or are you taking 1-bit?
Let's go 8-bit in order to, really see what I'm working with.
Okay. All right, 8-bit. So this is good because Rafa constantly went for 1-bit to start off last week, and it never worked out for him.
It was the high risk, high reward strat. If I got it right, I was super ahead.
Fair enough. But this is a 8-bit, so we're 2 points here. Joshi, can you tell me what was happening in the game at this time? It doesn't have to be exact, but from your memory, what was going
on? Let's see. This was Hyper had just hopped over the wall and used both his abilities on the dragon and almost died to Tomio.
Yeah. Kangas?
He's just flabbergasted that, it's not even close, Joshi. I don't even know what game you were watching at this point.
Kangas is just like...
I reconnected.
Are you back, Kangas?
Am I back?
Are you back?
So apparently I have 1-bit internet right now.
Okay.
I think Joshi cursed me by picking 8-bit first. Okay.
Damn.
All right. So, so what the exact moment you said he went over the dragon pit, he used 2 abilities. I don't think that's exact enough. That's not the answer I'm looking for. So Rafa, I'm going to give you a chance to seal. You get an opportunity here.
I feel like that's not fair to Josh, but shit,
Okay,
I'll take it.
okay.
My bad. So not only Hyper ward hopped over the wall with a control ward and then used Sonic Wave to start the dragon, but he finds his face first into Tomio, and because he has no spells, he has to ward hop away from Tomio. Tomio couldn't really punish him because he didn't realize how many spells that he had, but...
All right, let's see if that's the answer. We'll get the drum roll in here. Let's see. Is it yes or no? No. And that is not the answer I'm looking for. Now, maybe this is still around the same time. So you can contest me on this, but this is the moment. It was after the first death brush that EGA set up. They pick off mid lane, Takeover's dead, he had the package, and Hyper was on Dragon during it. So in my opinion, what was going on here, this is actually a really interesting play because TSM Academy are clearly prepping for them to answer at Dragon. Takeover could package in and then contest it. But instead, EGA used a Death Brush with a Control Ward in the Pixel Brush, and then they just wait for Takeover to walk in and then blow him up and then push Hyper out of the Dragon.
That is true.
So.
That is the level. That was supposed to be the giveaway, Mark.
Yep,
Yeah.
it was earlier. It was earlier in the game. Okay, so that was the first time we've had neither caster earn any points. That's kind of disappointing. But Rafa, you're up next. We're down through one of the 8-bit options. You have 2 16-bit, 1 8-bit, and 2 1-bits. What do you want?
Give me the 1-bit, baby. Let's
Oh,
go.
baby. You're just going
Let's
right
go.
in. Every time. See, this is why I like Rafa. This is why I like Rafa.
He's here to win.
All right.
Okay.
Rafa, what is going on in this image right here?
Oh, they're at the Baron pit, and they just wiped 2 members of TSM, but they're trying to do this Baron as TSM, or they wiped 2 members of Evil Geniuses,
Okay.
and they're getting poked down by Zap. Surdy is also trying to get into the pit as well. Kaori
Okay.
then fires the Super Mega Death
Yeah.
Rocket, and Yurson is pushed off, and so they are
Let's
to...
Let's see it. Let's see it. You've given enough information, so you probably know what the answer is going to be here.
Yeah, he's got it. I think he's got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's
Maybe this wasn't blown up enough.
go!
This was moments before disaster. TSM Academy, they get the 2 pigs, start up the Baron, and then immediately realize that was a mistake. They try and get away, and unfortunately get almost wiped here.
All right. Well played, Mark.
Yeah.
Well played. Well played.
Well played. Well
Okay.
played. Good job. Hey, Rafa with 3 points to start off. Joshi, you got to catch
I
up.
gotta do it.
What are you going
We're-
for? 16
We're going
bit?
for the other
8
one
or
bit.
1?
We gotta get right in there.
The other 1 bit. I'm worried that one was too easy now, and I'm honestly kind of worried that this one's too easy also. But
I need the points.
what is the context? What is the context of this?
This one is way harder.
Wait. This is Surdy's Hullbreaker. Yeah.
Okay, can you give any more context?
Okay, so it's the Hullbreaker icon after he bought it, and the first time
I'm
that
gonna
we noticed it.
give me a window. Give me a time window.
This is when Surdy was topside, and I believe this is when he was diving in and taking the top lane inhibitor in a 1v3 and then gets out.
Ooh. Okay, so this one, I was easy to guess Hullbreaker, so I was gonna make you actually guess like the context
Okay.
or like when he got Hullbreaker essentially.
Uh-huh.
Just give me like a 2-minute window in the game that you think he got
Oh, a
Hullbreaker.
2-minute window.
2-minute window.
Game ended at 30 minutes. Ish. I think this probably would have been about
a little bit after.
25 to 27 would be my
25 to 27. Let's hear. Drum roll.
guess. Did we get it?
And
Nope.
no, unfortunately, that was not the correct window. So,
Damn.
Rafa, you also have an opportunity to
I'm
steal.
getting destroyed.
What's your steal going to be for the time, the specific time window? And I'm gonna because it's a steal, you have to get it in 1-minute window.
Okay, 1-minute window. Okay. So the thing is, by the end of the game, Surdy had also a Sterix gauge and a stopwatch completed as well. So there's
True.
supple amount of time that he completed this. I think. Did he complete this Hullbreaker right after he solo killed Viper under the bottom inhibitor turret, which was around the 22-minute mark?
Let's hear. Drum roll coming in. And
It's gonna be like 24 minutes.
no, that's not correct either. You two are giving him a lot of credit. I like that, but this was actually 27 minutes into the
I
game
was
that
off
this
by
one
9
happened.
seconds.
It was a while. It was his third item. It was his third item purchase.
Oh.
You were off. You were so close, man. You were so close to getting it.
Tragedy.
I almost gave it to you. I almost just gave it to you. Honestly, you know what? Joshi gets the point. Now it's even 3-3.
3-3. Okay,
Maybe that was
okay,
too
okay.
rude of me.
Pity points.
But this is also right
need
after
it.
Kaori got a solo kill on Takeover, which was pretty slick to see too. So you can see,
Oh,
unfortunately,
okay,
his dead body is Corky right
There
there.
you go,
All right.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Now it is back to Rafa, tied 3-3. I think we only have time for each of you to maybe get one more if we can go fast. So, what's the final one for you going to be?
Oh, is it mine? Oh,
It's your
the
turn,
other,
yes.
the other 8-bit, other 8-bit.
The other 8-bit. All right, we're skipping the 16-bit. No one is interested in
Easy
16-bit
points.
hints. 8-bit for 2 points. Rafa, what is the context of this image?
Oh, this is the death brush that Kaori and Skytech set up when Instinct pushed a little too far on that bottom wave.
All right, let's hear a drum roll. And yes,
you got it.
absolutely. This is the second death brush that they set up. EG got 2 of these in like a minute window.
Yeah.
Because this was literally immediately after the dragon had been taken. Or at least like within a minute of that happening. So it's crazy that they were able to pull that off and just got accelerated from there. So I'm not going to lie, Joshi, it's not looking great.
It's not.
It's not looking great for your chances. You are down 2 points, and you only have 1 point categories left. So I'm going to give it to you.
All right.
What would you like to go for the 16? Well, I guess, you can only do 16-bit.
Let's get it in here.
All right, let's just pull it up. 16-bit number 1. What is going on in this image?
This is Surdy going for the level 1 ward, just trying to make sure he knows where the jungle is actually going to be starting.
Absolutely, it was. And see, this one's easy. Oh, I didn't do the drummer. Whatever.
I mean, it's a level 1, right?
It's a level 1. That was a little easier for you. But the idea of this is they see where Hyper's pathing.
Yeah.
They know exactly where he is. And then that sets up their early game immaculately. So that one was super quick. Let's do the last one real quick here. Rafa, this one's you.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna send it to you right now. What's going on here?
Just gonna send it. Oh, this was the dive from Viper and Tomio onto Surdy and Tomio onto Viper. Yeah.
Absolutely it was. And
First
this
blood.
is what happened because of that level 1 ward that they were able to put down. They just had the 3-wave crash, and they knew that Hyper was on the bottom side of the map based on how he'd been pathing because of that crucial level 1 ward. So there we go. I got to go harder on these. I feel like all these were way too easy. Last time they were a little more grainy. This time
I mean, that Hullbreaker one was pretty grainy. I think mine was like kind of easier just because
They're all
context
stat
of
on
the
top
level.
of each other.
True.
But we'll see. I believe in you, King. Is you can come up with something that's going to stump all of them. I'm still so sad we got the wrong time that Hyper was in the pit.
Close. It was really close. Oh no, the Hyper pit one. Yeah, that one was not quite close. But with that said, that's going to wrap it for our post-game game number 1, and we are getting ready for game number 2 of this best of 2 series. So I'm going to pass it back to Rafa and Joshi for Champ Select, and let's have some fun, guys.
Thanks, Kangas.
You've redeemed
really
yourself.
love that. Yeah, I gotta go tell Cubby on the other stream, bro. I gotta tell him what's up. That I've leveled up my game.
Pop into that
I'm ready to take him on again. Yeah. Now, please, Josh. You didn't go easy just to inflate my ego, right?
No, Mark, you should know this by now. I don't go easy, so when you win, you always actually earn it. It's why you still have never beaten me in chess.
And he hits me with the backhanded compliment.
Dude, I'm just saying, every single time you were winning Wii Fit versus Snake, that was real, right? I don't go easy. You earn your victories.
All right. True. Well, we are in Champion Select for the second half of this series. TSM are the ones going to be taking red side this time around, which will play into Viper's favor, as he definitely enjoys having the counter pick options for himself. I'm curious, would Viper throw down the gauntlet and be like, yo, pick a Kali. Let me pick the Fiora this time around. We're going to let me play the style that you guys just enacted.
See, that would be pretty interesting, because, like, Viper hasn't really seen a whole lot of Akali, right? He's played it twice, right? He played it against CLG, and that went okay, and then he just played it in that last game. And I don't know how much he'd really be willing to just flip the script on that, but this is interesting to me. I was expecting Zeri to be a permanent red side ban, not being banned out on the blue side, but this says to me that Kaori, whether or not he plays it, he doesn't want to bring it out in competitive. It doesn't suit the style that he's typically been going for. And instead, with the with the Zeri and the Jinx ban, I expect we might pivot instead and look towards the jungle as our first pick, because there are still plenty of good AD carries.
Yeah, catching up with a few of the 80 carries this week, actually. Some of them have basically said that, yeah, I don't really feel that great about Zeri right now because she's just such a different champion, a different marksman to play with. But we feel like that if we're not comfortable with it, then we basically just have to ban it and not, give the enemy team a chance of experimenting with it on the academy stage, just because it is... Anytime a new champion like that comes out, it just completely warps the game and how you have to perceive it.
Yeah.
And the long-range game is so hard to deal with.
I think something that we'll talk more about the Zeri champion when it actually gets played. For now, we got to focus on the fact that Evil Geniuses, now the ones with the Corki. And Takeover, he had like one really good moment, right, where he was able to come through and find a couple of kills after the Baron was taken the first time. But now he's going to be shifting over to the Rise with the Zinjo in support. So there's a couple things. One, you have easy lockdown, right? Guaranteed to land onto Corki, and that's a lot of damage. And Corki does very little. His damage is peanuts absolute peanuts early game. And so you really need something like the Jarvan to actually create some space. So there will be some space for TSM to find some early game advantages because there's not going to be a lot coming out from Soligo for the first couple of levels.
Evil Geniuses could just instantly lock down the Aphelios right now to make sure that TSM don't have the other lethal tempo marksman available, since the Jinx was banned away from Evil Geniuses. But because the Jarvan was locked in early, I'm curious if TSM will pick a more mobile marksman, something the likes of the Ezreal that can easily arcane shift out of the Cataclysm traps and then just leave it so that Instinct has a little bit more safety to themselves in team fights, and TSM can refocus their composition and playing around other primary carries instead.
There's a lot of opportunities for Instinct to go for this Ezreal, like you called out, right? You know, you always got to make sure you're the pretty boy.
I'm kind of smart, Pog!
I'm hoping he goes for the cat boy this time around as well. And we are seeing there's a lot of range coming out from the Corki and the Ezreal to poke at each other. Now, one of them does a lot more damage with this poke, but you also have kind of disparate styles coming through, right? Zinjao has to get in. Jarvan has to go in. Ryze and Aphelios both hitting at a medium range, whereas Ezreal can play medium to long. So there's a lot of interesting range discrepancies coming through in this game, and neither team necessarily super cohesive. And because they have the opportunity to go in a lot of different directions, the next half of the draft is going to be super pivotal to telling how these two teams are going to be playing so far. And with the support band starting to come through, it's going to be very difficult for Skytech and Yurson to find themselves favorable matchups.
But this time around, Evil Geniuses aren't trying to lessen Yurson's champion pool. Before, they locked away the Nautilus as well as the Rel, and they picked the Leona away from him as well. Whereas TSM, they're the ones that are focusing down the champion pool, taking, as you already noted, the Thresh. Lulu is a great option to buff up an extremely fed hyper carry like the Aphelios the later the game goes, and also it just makes it such a difficult lane matchup for the side of TSM. This Graves ban, though...
It's that Viper. Yeah. He's played it a lot so far this year, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who are willing to play it. Both the Gwen and Viper, the Gwen and the Graves, some of Viper's most played this year. And now he's going to actually have the counter pick. So both of these are stuff that he's been willing to play into just about anything. Take all comers. He's just feels confident he's going to outplay you. But with the Leona and the Braum coming through, once again, there's a lot of similarities in the way that Evil Geniuses is drafting compared to what TSM had in Game 1. So Evil Geniuses going to need to be the ones to showcase that they can actually play a very similar style to what TSM were doing before. And the Renekton, again, a great take-all-comer style of champion, and we'll see what Viper wants to do. He's known for playing a lot of marksman. I wonder if this is an opportunity to play with something like, yeah, the Vayne is kind of the first thing that was coming to mind.
TSM, if this gets locked in, the game plan has to be play around the top side of the map. Now, the Jace still would appreciate making sure that the Jace doesn't get bullied by ganks from Tomio if they do some type of similar level 3 wave crash, but because Jace has the range advantage, you can kind of contest Renekton earlier on. But the nice thing, as you kind of noted, Joshi, is before Jace was kind of known as, if you don't snowball him in the early game, it's just doomed. Jace is useless. But now, the scaling with the Muramana and the Eclipse actually helps him do fairly well, even as the later the game goes on.
And he's one of the few things that can actually contest Corki's poke. And I was watching an LCK game not that long ago, Mark, and the thing that I thought was hilarious is one team was playing, I don't remember what the whole comp was, but they had a Corki and a Jace, right? And the thing that's funny is Corki's big ones do 800 damage easily, right? Sometimes more than that, especially if you have first strike. You know, and he does that every, like, 6 seconds or something. Yeah. Jace does the same thing every 12, right? But he's only got the one, right? He's just got like this one really big shock blast that you can actually go with. But the big difference is that Jace will be able to follow it up. That's not the only thing he does. He has a lot of damage to jump in on top of you and just kind of blow up a lot of these squishies. And that's why he scales so reasonably, or so well at this point. His just ability to destroy squishy members of the team doesn't disappear and gets worse and worse as the game actually goes on. So Viper on this Jace, I really like it. It has ways to play in the early game. It has a decent mid game, and its late game really, really scary for the members of Evil Geniuses, and they are going to have to be the ones who are going to push the tempo later on in the game in ways that we weren't necessarily initially expecting.
And not to mention that Viper's going to have an insane amount of split push pressure as well if he actually is able to get ahead of this Renekton, or at least survive long enough where he begins to outscale depending on what kind of items and durability and sustain he has access in his inventory, right? Because if Surdy, if he's not smashing this Jace, the Jace can keep him at bay with range, he can poke him out, he can out-sustain him as well, and then anytime that Surdy is forced to recall or forced to join the other side of the map, a Viper is going to be taking turrets with ease.
Viper, we'll see what he can do. The second half is very different than the first half, and kind of want to take stock a little bit of how these two teams are looking, right? As the first game goes in favor of Evil Geniuses, TSM are down at 2-7 currently. They need to start finding some of these wins, and I feel like they have a composition that can actually do it. However, Evil Geniuses, as they look for more consistency, have to be feeling really good. They started the day 4-4. They're now 5-4. They're looking to climb up, and I think Evil Geniuses should still be expecting to kind of win this game. Like, mentally, you go in with the attitude of, like, yeah, we feel like we're going to be the better team. We're going to be looking for opportunities to just win, and I think that's going to be really helpful. Whereas TSM, I feel like they're probably a bit more afraid of the loss.
TSM, challenge for them. Can they recuperate and just bounce back and just say, you know what, game one, yeah, kind of a big blowout, huge performance from Evil Geniuses. They can bounce back, because TSM have definitely been struggling to find consistent wins, apart from the one series that they were able to take off of Cloud9 Academy a couple weeks ago. Whereas for Evil Geniuses,
bang, one more.
Yeah, right, a lot of shots into Instinct at the moment, forcing him to chug 2 pots already.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage coming through, and with all the trades that we're already seeing on the bottom half of the map in particular, we're seeing that there's going to be a lot less HP to play with. But Surdy, level 1.
This is huge from Viper, and he's going to get behind Surdy as well.
Oh, nice dodge.
Knock him back.
Okay. This is some of the struggles that we know Renekton can have into the Jace. It's very, very scary to play Renekton in the first level, in the first 2 levels, right? Before you have your full combo, Renekton is not that scary against a lot of champions, and Jace can actually just win a lot of these auto attack trades, and that's part of why we're seeing Viper have such a large advantage early on. He also has a ton of extra sustain going with the biscuits and the longsword and potion, so he's very happy to just continuously trade HP up against the Renekton in these small bursts. So Viper looking to be in control, and both junglers now coming up top for a potential 2v2. They need to wait for Suri to be level 3 before Evil Geniuses can even consider this gank.
A lot of damage from Takeover, getting a huge shove in. I wonder if TSM want to take this opportunity from Takeover's push to really just invade and brute force their way through the top side of the map, get this dive going, or at least force summoner spells out of Surdy and off of this wave, because it's a huge amount of minions. Over Hyper, trying to take this grab. Who got it? Was that No. The Hyper was able to smite it away, and now he finds himself onto Tomio. He doesn't have Flag and drag quite away because he already used Dragonlance. He's able to get out, but it costs at his flash. Hyper is going to force him out.
Oh, still fighting in the bottom lane. Gearsong going to be taking a decent amount of damage, but the Aftershock mitigates a lot of it. Yeah, I mean, it ends up being a flash for Flash, but we are getting to see, right, like Corki can't help. Corki can't do much of anything early on.
All right, Renekton damage is kind of gnarly, though. What was that?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's crocodile and he has teeth, boy.
Bringing back a little bit of Mazel flavor again, down in Texas. Now, Surdy still able to contest somewhat in this top lane matchup. There was a moment where I thought that TSM could have really set up for a damning siege or a dive onto Surdy and really just put him far behind, but, you know, being behind less than 10 CS, it hurts, but it's not the end of the world at this stage.
It'll be all right. Renekton's still going to be very powerful in the mid game as long as he doesn't fall hopelessly far behind. And Surdy, see what he's going to be able to do, because the big thing, remember, we were kind of saying he was having a bit of inconsistency issues earlier in the split thus far, and so far, I mean, we're getting to see a very good game from him, but he's going to be losing a lot of CS here. He doesn't even get the back off. He's going to get dove.
Oh, and look at this. Takeover using his priority, shoves out the wave. He's here as well for the dive. They don't even need Hyper here, and Surdy could be in a bad spot. Flash away from Takeover. Takeover's the one that is tanking the turret shots. Beautifully executed by the solo laners of TSM for first blood.
Great stuff coming through from TSM, and Skytech is here to potentially try and turn things around.
Oh, a flash from Skytech. Tomio at first wasn't quite ready, but he follows up instantly afterwards for the Flag and Dragon, knocks out Viper.
Great stuff coming through. Both sides willing to fire here in this game. Now, Kaori needs to be careful. He sees Yurson, but there's a potential engage.
And Instinct and Yurson going to give Kaori a little bit of his own medicine with the 2v1 flash for flash.
There you go. So everybody give and take on the board, and this is the big thing that we're going to be paying attention to. TSM currently a little bit faster at all the plays. They got the dive top lane, and then there was a response from Evil Geniuses. Then TSM look for a play bottom lane. Then Kaori has to blow his flash. Now TSM again first to the next play. They're going to be picking up this Cloud Dragon. And this is something that we know TSM does reasonably well. They have their early games pretty decently. We know that they are willing to go for these early dives. We know that they're willing to set up these plays. The big thing that we've been looking at is after that, are they going to be able to continue the dominance that they've had?
Oh, Surdy, not too happy about getting dove a while ago, and this is a little payback now. Takeover doesn't have flash from before. Surdy trying to keep track of him, looking for the stun, but there's
Peanuts.
Soligo finally is in range. It's not going to be enough to threaten lethal.
True. I mean, I don't know what Takeover knew during that, because that changes like how he plays a lot, because I don't think he got spotted. I don't think Surdy was ever spotted during that. So like Takeover just kind of like hovering back and forth, saying like, where do we actually go? And it ends up wasting a lot of Surdy's time. But on the other side of the map, Kaori and Skytech, we saw Yurson move towards the mid lane in order to see if they want to try and create some space on the top lane, go for another dive against Surdy. Instead, going to be coming back down. But unfortunately for Evil Geniuses, Braum is nowhere near as good of an engaged champion as Leona is. Instinct should be safe.
Very reliant on having friends to really close out that concussive blows passive. So Ligo thought he was in danger, but Yurson just hovering around to make sure that Takeover can get this push. But because of Takeover being freed up from the mid wave and Hyper moving towards the top side of the map, Surdy already knows no flash. This is a very dangerous spot to be in, and he's not going to even risk it. But this is a lot of CS that... Oh, no.
Ooh.
Oh,
Surdy
no.
wants this. He's willing to give it up. He's willing to die for it.
He's going to pop Dominance. He's going to try to soak up as many experience and CS that he can before he goes down. He's willing to trade for it. TSM will take that kill.
I have respect. As somebody who's played a lot of top lane, there's a certain point at which you're just like, man, F this. I am going to die for some of this. But now, here's the dive on the other side.
Viper does have teleport. He's answering back. Can they flash forward on top of Instinct? Nicely done. Now, Tomio, can he get out? He should be able to have Flag and Drag once again. It might be Skytech that is forced to get out. Oh, he's just like, please, let me jump to you. Now, Viper, Kaori, he's got a lot of damage, though. Now, Viper was able to secure the kill onto Skytech, but at what cost? Tomio should be able to... He should be able to walk out fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, again, punch and counter punch all over the map, right? Well, Viper, currently 100% kill participation thus far. The teleport comes down and allows him to react there. But at the same time, it's going to be giving Surdy some free time in order to build up, at least, you know, reduce the CS deficit that he had previously. And maybe even get... Nah, there's no way he ends up getting a plate here. But it is going to be opportunities for this bottom lane to start taking over the game. We were looking previously at how strong Kaori and Skytech were, how much influence they were willing to have over the game, and it didn't necessarily come into fruition in Game 1, but now they are poised to do it in Game 2 because Kaori already has a Gale Force at 9 minutes.
He's huge. Once again, we talked about it before. Anytime that Evil Geniuses are feeling behind, they can always depend on Kaori to really pop off in the late game. But he's ahead once again. And Kaori is now on the top side of the map. They know that Viper doesn't have flash from before. Skytech can just walk up, set up for the concussive blows, and Kaori just follows up with ease. Another kill to the Evil Geniuses.
That's just a reversal of what happened in the first game, Mark. Remember, Viper was one who was like, I'm going to get out of this lane, so we'll send the bottom lane top. It was blue side TSM that were sending their dual lane top lane, and this time, Evil Geniuses are doing the same thing to TSM, and now they're the ones who are rewarded for it because they know that Renekton needs to have an opportunity to continue farming. And with nobody to match him, he's again finding more free time to farm. EG are still, even in this roundabout way, playing to Surdy in some ways, as Kaori's actually the one who's looking to be the strong member.
And for Evil Geniuses, they're able to punish on a good window because last time Surdy never left top lane as soon as he got the lead. He just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, never had to burn the flash. And so when they finally came towards the top side of the map, he was fine. He just backed away and waited for reinforcements to come through. But because Viper tried to salvage the bottom lane dive that was occurring using both teleport and flash, Evil Geniuses knew that they could punish him without those summoner spells available to him. And so Evil Geniuses, despite being put behind slightly through that top lane lead, they're now back ahead with a gold lead this time around.
It's a lot smaller than it was last time, and with this dragon coming up, we saw in a very similar spot to this, takeover on the Corki ends up getting caught with the package. Soligo now needs to prove that he's not going to be making the same mistakes. He's a little bit further behind in the tier stacking than Takeover was last time, but he has the package, he has the teleport, he is going to be here. He gets to cheat, you know, on that tempo, right? He doesn't care that you're supposed to normally back around 40 seconds. Soligo is going to be at this dragon regardless, and with the teleports still not fully unlocked, not unleashed, Surdy and Viper continuing to stay in this isolated spot. Ooh, Surdy.
A ward taken down for a third of HP. Doesn't feel great right now, but, you know, if the wave builds up, he can get an empowered Cold to meet to sustain some of that back up. Meanwhile, Evil Genius...
Right, we can't discount that. Corki does doing peanuts earlier, now does 2 peanuts, right? Which is still not a lot, but it is a far cry from what we were saying previously. And Evil Geniuses with the Ripped Herald going to continue putting money in Cowrie's pocket. Look how far back Skytech is playing. He wants to make sure he doesn't get any of this gold. Now, obviously, Jarvan's going to get some of it because he's going to be crashing the Herald. But everybody else going to be creating space in order to make sure that Cowrie is safe, picking up most of the gold off of this structure. And Evil Geniuses, again, ahead at the 12-minute mark. It's not the same kind of lead as last time, but they are still looking to build up even more. Now, Surdy getting dove again, but Soligo's here.
Yeah, Soligo instantly teleporting, and TSM have to call off the play. Because diving a Renekton with Dominus, and then, of course, you have Corki coming in, even though no longer access to package. You don't want to risk it. I just have to give credit back over to Evil Geniuses how much they got out of a package that never had to be used. The threat of it forced them off the dragon, and then, you know, normally maybe teams could have said, like, okay, we got the dragon, boom, go ahead, use your package. But they held on to it and realized we have this Rift Herald play. If they try to defend against it, we're going to package on top of them, and they're going to be toasted. Yeah. So Evil, just...
it's crazy the amount of pressure that package exerts on the game, but TSM still trying to exert some pressure, but getting pressured off.
Hyper, stunned up by the concussive blows, but a little bit on the tankier side thanks to that Gore Drinker completion. Not going to go down anytime soon. No need to flash. Atomia will get some vision control onto this top side of the map. Soligo also shoving out his wave, will be moving in position to assist.
Oh, here's Tomio.
Do they want to actually dive
There's
this?
no way.
Cataclysm is available, but it's a little too spooky. You would be diving into a Leona, and it's hard to lock down Ezreal. Arcane Shift gives you a lot of safety to be able to dodge out on some of these skill shots.
Yeah, just going to be very happy to set things up, allow Cowrie and Skytech to create some more pressure, and I think they might get another plate here, but the big thing is that, oh, Cowrie.
Okay, they're going to try to punish him overextending. Tomio is not quite here yet, but they're fighting back beautifully because Instinct can't really safely get in and put out as much damage as he would like. Only Skytech is the one that suffers any casualties whatsoever. It's just half of his HP bar, whereas Yurson, he's the one that's forced to retreat.
Did you see that, Cowrie, as he, like, stepped back to the bush? He stepped forward, he's like, huh? What are you going to do? Like that pump fake, right? Like, huh? What are you going to do about it? I have red-white, I have so many Chakram stacked up, and now they dive.
And now they're going to go for it. Cataclysm right on top. Tomio can swag, flag, and drag out. Make sure that he doesn't take too many turret shots. Skytech. Oh, the stopwatch! A little reminiscent of the old days with stopwatch being available at 8 minutes. But Viper, meanwhile, forcing the flash out of Surdy. Not going to find a solo kill opportunity here. As TSM really looking towards Viper to be the sole point of advantage for their side of the map.
It feels so weird to say that because he's 1-3, but it is still true. But I have to praise, we were pumping up Cowrie and Skytech previously, and Cowrie feeling very confident with the amount of damage he's able to put out at this point. Still has the Gale Force completed to basically nothing, and oh, I didn't even realize that. The teleport was coming through from Viper, but it got canceled. That's why Surdy had to flash. He was making sure that Viper could not interact with that play.
Damn. That's some character development right there. I mean, Surdy, he's being a role player. And evident in the interview that we saw from last week, you know, he's been he's been putting in a lot of effort of just trying to diversify himself as a player. And he's recognized that there's a lot of moments where he's inconsistent and moments where he's given up solo deaths in attempts to make solo kills. He's like, if I had used this ability correctly, I could have gotten this. And so clearly he has the vision for a lot of plays that high-level top laners can make. It just comes down to being able to get the execution down correctly, right? But the other thing, too, is that we normally don't associate Surdy with being a role player, right? It's either feed me and get me ahead or we die, which was characteristic in the past, but this is just insane growth from this player making his Academy debut this year.
Yeah. No, I'm really curious. I did get a message from our producer, Kelsey, in the middle of last game. It's like, yeah, Surdy loves building Hullbreaker and will build on every champ. I wonder if Renekton is one of those champions that he'd be willing to do it. But we'll get back to that. We will return to this if we see it build. Right now, Evil Geniuses looking to repeat a play they made 5 minutes ago. Soligo has the package, and even though he is 0-0-0 on the board, he is still creating a ton of pressure just by having this ability ready, and it means that Evil Geniuses don't even necessarily need to be here for the dragon.
A takeover trying to shove in this wave, get some pressure back, force Surdy to pick up and allocate his presence on this top side of the map. TSM are potentially getting ready to answer. Takeover does have Unleashed Teleport, so he can respond, but Hyper nowhere near the dragon. No way they're going to be able to contest. This puts Evil Geniuses 2 dragons away from Mountain Soul.
Yeah.
Kind of on a clock now for TSM.
And the clock kind of gets really bad, right? Because even though we know that Ryze scales well, he does a lot of damage later on in the game. Jace does a lot of damage later on in the game. The problem is they might not get to do it, right? They might not ever be in a spot where they are going to be able to hit. And EG, after feeling in their comfort zone right now, right? Kaori, 5-0-0, has a completed item, almost done with the Collector. He's going to be doing absolutely insane damage coming up every single time they are able to create a fight. And Surdy, even though he's not as powerful as was last game, is still holding his own. He's doing a lot to make sure these turrets don't end up going down. And look at this. I mean, I kind of feel for the guy, right? The number of times he's just been forced off of turret because, you know, 2, 3, 4 people come threatening to dive him means that he is so poor relative to where he was last game. But his willingness to take most of it with grace and just like, yep, it is better that I don't die here because I would lose all of this anyway if I end up going down is really impressive.
If there's anything that Surdy can, learn from just game 1 is when Viper was in the same position, Viper was down a ton of CS, and in the one moment that Evil Geniuses kind of flopped in their overextension on that jungle quadrant, it was Viper that not only found a beautiful teleport flank, but picked up a lot of kills. So Surdy knows that, you know what, if Viper can be still useful being that down, I can still be useful. And now they canceled out the teleport because the turret just went down, and now it's a numbers advantage for Evil Geniuses. TSM are on the run. They just get picked off one by one.
Takeover, that teleport wasn't at the right time, ends up creating a terrible spot for the rest of his team. This is going to be 2 structures going down for Evil Geniuses. We'll see if they can actually try and wave clear, but look at Soligo just around the side. He knows there's no way for them to get to him, and he's just free to shoot rockets.
And look at the patience from Tomio as well. They know that they have the advantage to take down this second-tier turret without using the Rift Herald. He's going to still have it available. He'll be able to get a recall off, but the timer is starting to run out on it. I think it's less than 60 seconds before the Rift Herald will be forced to be used. And Evil Geniuses have opened up the top side of the map completely, which does set up for easy control of that jungle quadrant that could lead into a Baron.
We'll see how willing they are to actually go for this Baron, right? We saw that it was what bit them last game. Their one major mistake was around the Baron. So, Evil Geniuses, now they need to create a little bit of pressure here on the rest of the map, but it sounds like we're going to be jumping into a replay. And yeah, this teleport not going through ends up being a disaster. You immediately see the teleport from Surdy already completes. His takeover isn't able to be there. And I talk about this a lot. League of Legends is a game of counting and how many friends you have. And when you do have more people on your side, it's really easy to pick up a big team fight win because your opponent is missing 20% of what they do and all the synergies that they are able to create. It's like a TFT game, right?
Yes, Josh.
Yes.
Yes. I can totally resonate with. Now, this Rift Herald was just popped onto the bottom side of the map. And TSM trying to do their best to answer back onto it. Takeover not necessarily in position to stop the Rift Herald alongside the rest of the members.
Okay.
Solar Flare will land on the Cowrie. Immediate cleanse follow-up. Meanwhile, Tobio tries to lock down Instinct. He arcane shifts out. Tomio's going to pop the stopwatch. Nice flank from Hyper. He tries to get the Crescent Guard. A lot of damage down on the Skytech and Tomio and Surdy. And now TSM, they might be able to patch out Evil Geniuses in pursuit. Surdy turns around, tries to tank up as much damage as he can, but he's not going to be long for this world. Cowrie and Soligo will be able to make it out alive. Tomio barely by the skin of his teeth.
Okay, TSM once again finding an angle in. Hyper just being delivered to the back line of Evil Geniuses, comes up with a teamfight win. But Evil Geniuses still in firm control of the game, right? We've seen this same play repeated twice so far today. Soligo, in a couple seconds, is going to be going back to grab the package. And as we jump to see this replay, watch how Hyper comes in for this fight, right? He's just delivered with the Realm Warp and suddenly creates so much space, knocks back the enemy front line, and they can't hit him. Nobody can do any damage to him, and because both Surdy and Skytech are too far forward based off of the Crescent Guard, they end up melting because they don't have any damage to actually follow up. So Ligo wasn't there just quite ready, and now we'll actually get to see the full brunt of Corki. This guy's got a needlessly large rod.
Oh, what is that going to build into?
Shadow Flame? Probably.
That's a lot of... If you don't have magic resist, you're in big trouble.
You see that from Skytech? You know, quick reaction fingers.
Oh, yeah. Instant unbreakable. Yeah. Kangas would be proud of that.
Okay, well, Soligo is here. Surdy has no teleport and just, you know, walks over. I actually really like that. Just walks over to double check. Like, hey, are you hitting the Baron? No? Okay, cool. Well, we are good to go then. Soligo will just pressure you off with this package. And with the Dragon already getting picked up, TSM, they should grab this crab, but the crab is not enough, as tasty as it is, to actually prevent Evil Geniuses from just taking control of this quadrant of the jungle and reasserting themselves on the top half. But Soligo with no package left, suddenly the threat is greatly diminished, and Evil Geniuses just kind of have to wait. I think we're probably going to see neither team go for this Baron mark, and instead they're just waiting for Soligo to get more items. They know that, hey, TSM haven't contested us for the last 3 dragons. Every single time we've just been able to pick it up by going with the package, and I would be pretty confident that that would be continue to be the case.
And for TSM's side, they can always rely on Viper and Instinct to poke out members of Evil Geniuses if they're trying to bait them towards the Baron Pit, and it's not the safest composition at this stage in the game to try and just flip it when all members of TSM are up. So they're going to bide their time. They are working towards Soul Condition in the next 4 minutes. So as for Evil Geniuses, as long as they prevent TSM from ever taking the Baron, they're fine to just vibe on the Rift for until Mountain Dragon comes up again.
Yeah. There's also one person I kind of want to shout out on Twitter. RJS, formerly Deus, has been putting out some more content recently, and one of the things that he says... Oh.
He's doing it again! Moonlight Vigil! Instinct not going to go down quite yet. The heal comes out.
Respect the attempt.
What?
Respect the attempt. But what RJS was saying is that scaling is not real, right? And, you know, what he means by this is not that champions don't scale better or worse than other champions. Obviously, some champions have a power curve that means that they are stronger later in the game. But the only way to play is not going for these front-to-back team fights. You can still find ways, and even with this Mountain Soul, I'm not sure how much it's going to be helping Evil Geniuses, right? They aren't necessarily worried about this huge burst damage that TSM are going to be putting out. TSM are going to be doing damage over time, and yes, the Mountain Dragons that you picked up along the way are helpful, but they're not the real treasure that you're going for here.
Trying to think that over. I mean, I'm probably wrong about it. I think the HP shield is nice, but
nice.
I can also understand. Yeah, because then it's great against high assassination high burst comps, right? But because this is a poke comp and a lot of damage that can be just whittling you down over time, it still puts the incentive on Evil Geniuses to force the fight because they have insane lockdown thanks to the Cataclysm, and they just need to engage on the TSM before they get poked down because, you know, Corki, they have poke, but unless Cowrie is on Green Gun, he cannot match the range of Viper or Instinct either.
Yeah, he just gets kind of, you know, bursted down. And we kind of see there that there's still not that much, you know, that they are always necessarily going to be able to block, right? The Mountain Shield is going to block a Mystic Shot coming out from Ezreal, right? Like, it's not that much. But the biggest thing is you are going to be taking these longer drawn-out fights regardless, right? You have to kind of wait out the Xin Zhao Crescent card regardless of what kind of soul you have. And Mountain, you know, don't get me wrong, it's helpful, but it's not going to be the automatic win condition. The biggest thing is you're just buying yourself time in order to give Soligo more and more time to be the insane late game Corki that we know that the LCK casters have just been snoozing over for the past couple of weeks. They just are just saying, I don't understand why anybody's ever giving this up. And as we get closer and closer to the point where the Mountain Soul is going to be on the field, we just kind of wait. Evil Geniuses are very happy to just make sure that there's no pressure point for TSM, and as the next package is going to be coming up very soon, we're going to see Soligo go back and look for an opportunity to pressure TSM off a Dragon for the 4th time in a row.
And what has TSM been able to do as the game has just kind of dragged out? Because Evil Geniuses, they have scaling on their side that has been building up. A Viper has hit 2.5 items, working towards what I believe will be a Serelda's Grudge for that 3rd one. Takeover has been doing pretty darn well in just facilitating plays. These 3 items, it's not the high damage Rise build, but it's the tankier, more durable Rise build, so he can step up more confidently and look to just set up plays for the rest of TSM to follow up on.
I think that's something that Takeover has done very well is farm, but the big thing now is farm is not enough as the damage is starting to rain in. He's got lots of rockets, that means he's got lots of fun, and Surdy poked out a little bit, but Evil Geniuses have found their way into the river.
Shadow Flame completed for Soligo, as you called it. This is a lot of magic damage. And on members like Instinct, who don't have any magic resist, they have to be careful if it. Glacial Fissure does land. Package goes in. Soligo goes right into the backline. And multiple members of TSM are scattered like the wind. Soligo is doing such a damn good job of just keeping TSM at bay while not being in any real danger for himself. And the rest of Evil Genius just follow up beautifully.
Great play coming through from Soligo. One of the better packages we've seen so far. And Surdy, I don't know if he actually catches up to Instinct. Okay, he does. I lied.
Dash over the wall. Does he actually? Oh my god! I can just imagine our 80 carry main friends just looking at this and crying, man. It's like, dude, my role sucks this season. I thought we put Surdy down. I thought we put him behind, and he can still do this to me, man.
Well, we'll see if there's anything left for TSM. They are down 2 members now as the Baron is the objective on the table. Hyper is still around, but he's going to have trouble getting into this pit. He has the flash, but with so many members around and with how quickly this is going down, it's difficult for him to really participate. Soligo only has a couple of rockets, and look at the damage he's supposed to have. That's 1 rocket.
Yeah, Viper already used this accelerated shock blast another 8 seconds before he can use it again. Hyper wants to gain vision, 3.8k HP on the Baron. Soligo's just taking pot shots right now, and they say, you know what, why don't we just take out Takeover right now before he gets a chance to be able to turn it around, but he gets locked down by Takeover and Viper, and now numbers have been evened up, and Evil Geniuses have to give up the Baron.
Okay, well, Evil Geniuses, they don't have to give it up, they just can't do it right now, but we're seeing inklings of why this champion has been banned so many times, why nobody is typically allowed to play Corki, and has yet been played twice during this series. So, Mountain Soul picked up for the members of Evil Geniuses as we take stock once again. Mountain Soul is there. Corki's on 3 items. Aphelos is on 3 items. And both of these damage carriers create so much space. Now, the only thing that they're going to be having trouble with so far is hitting Hyper, right? Because Hyper throws up that Crescent Guard, creates a lot of space. And Hyper, the emphasis is now on him to create these strong plays for the rest of his team to actually follow up on. Because they have the damage. They have late game Jace, Rise, and Ezreal. They can burst through people, but it's just so difficult for them to actually find their way in against something like Corki.
But when they find moments like that, and Soligo trying to be the bodyguard, is just slightly too far extended for Takeover to lock him down for an easy accelerated shock blast full combo from Viper. And then things get a little easier for TSM, as despite being down a complete Mountain Soul, they are not completely out of this game. They're just not as in control. 5,000 gold deficit as well. But there's an Elder Dragon coming up. And if it's during a time where Soligo doesn't have package available, imagine a world where TSM, they win the flip, and then suddenly the whole game plan for Evil Geniuses is turned on its head.
That's going to be an interesting point, right? Soligo, is he the kind of player to pick up the package in order to try and force for the Baron? Or is he the kind of player to wait on the package in order to force for the Elder Dragon? Right? Elder Dragon, the bigger prize between the two of them. And Evil Geniuses, They're starting to hit now, but they don't do this particularly quickly. Especially not with all the poke.
TSM just slowly walking in, trying to get vision down. Kaori is trying to do his best to whittle it down as much as he can. Oh, that's a lot of damage, though, from the True Shot Barrage. Thanks to Instinct. They have to back off. Solar Flare, not going to catch anyone out directly for a stun. It's just a AoE slow. But Evil Geniuses going to stop the Baron for now. Going to have to reclaim control of these waves that are pushing in as TSM now have an opportunity to gain vision control once again.
And the damage from Viper, you know, it quickly gets healed off from the members of Evil Geniuses. And again, I'm starting to look towards the veterans of TSM. Viper and Yurson, kind of the two primary people that come to mind as the people with the most veterancy in terms of League of Legends. They're the ones who need to keep people calm. They're the ones who are going to be looking to say, hey guys, this is what our game plan is going to be for the next couple of minutes. And so far, I mean, they've been content. They've given up 4 dragons back to back to back. They seem to be playing for a later win condition than that, and I think it is the Elder, like you were calling out previously, Mark. And TSM just haven't been able to find their way into a lot of these fights. They found one in the bottom lane, but that was really their only hurrah so far this time around the second half of the series.
Tomio scouting out Yurson and Hyper waiting in that bush. Powerful utility
Doesn't
that
even break
flag.
the shield. Damn. Man. See, everybody in Twitch chat is like, why did he do that? But you know.
Yeah, it's an old joke. Oh, whoa. That's a lot of poke. That's Corky, baby. Instinct still not having any magic resist is going to be in a pretty painful spot anytime he gets hit by one of those rockets. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Elder Dragon's not going to be up for a minute 25, but Realm Warp is forced to be used by TSM to get the hell away from that rocket poke. And Evil Geniuses are going to turn right towards the Baron now.
Yeah, look at how far away TSM had to go for that. This is a much more difficult for them to contest, but Evil Geniuses not going to be going for it. They have decided we are not playing for the Baron, Mark. We are playing for the Elder Dragon. The package will be available in the fight to end the game and determine whether or not we're going to get a drawn series, which is something that TSM, you know, is striving for, or if Evil Genius is going to take the 2-0 that they should have been expecting.
And remember, Evil Geniuses have won one series completely, drawn on 2 series, and then lost 1 series completely. Whereas TSM, they've won 1 series completely, haven't gotten any draws, and lost 3 series completely. And so for TSM, it would be meaningful as a mark of their progression and their development as a squad if they could at least even up the series in the second half. This Elder Dragon coming up in the next 25 seconds could be their moment.
It has to be their moment, right? You cannot afford to give this up. And luckily for the members of TSM, the Elder Dragon has so much HP, man. It takes so long to actually take this objective down. But Evil Geniuses have control of the choke points. They bring everybody here first, and they are keeping TSM out of the actual river. So look at this. Are they even going to fight for it? This might be Evil Genius just forcing the members of TSM to walk into the poke or lose.
So Lego also has package available. If he finds one more potentially lethal poke, I wouldn't have been mad if Sligo just full sent it right into the backline and just assassinated a couple members there. TSM, they have no control over the dragon, and they know that Kaori and Tomio are just trying to seek it right now. Hyper has to force an engage, force something back here, but Sligo always has package to be able to go back. He's going to cut off the members from being able to advance into the river, and Elder Dragon has been finished, and now they can just turn tails right onto TSM. Oh my god, the Elder Dragon even pursuing all the way through the Realm Warp, taking out Viper in the crossfire. Takeover and Instinct are able to survive, but Evil Geniuses still remain with 5.
Great play coming through from Evil Geniuses. They knew they just needed to buy time with all their members, and we got a replay to show exactly how this goes down. Now, I want to point something out about how Soligo actually goes for the package when we actually get to the replay, but the game might be ending before we have an opportunity for that. Tomio, just going forward, still has Cataclysm.
Oh, Kaori flashing for once again. Moonlight Vigil, unfortunately, does not make the mark here. Instinct was able to flash away, but it doesn't matter because he gets help from Soligo for a couple rockets into his back. Instinct gets sent to the gray screen, and Evil Geniuses might just look to close out the game with this last timer window, but multiple members of TSM are starting to respawn. Hyper's up. Viper will be up in 5 seconds. They're going to try to stalled takeover. He's going to go down. That should be it. It should be enough damage. Evil Geniuses, no losses this time around. It's a shutout for them.
Skytech executing himself at the very end there as well, Mark, making sure that he just sends a message, but Evil Geniuses, two very different styles of games, and they were able to close both of them out. Evil Geniuses looking really, really good this week, and I was expecting our next series to be kind of my match of this week, but so far, Evil Geniuses saying, nah, you should be paying a bit more attention to us. It's time to start living evil.
And that was definitely a series for Evil Geniuses to really stamp their mark, right?
Yeah.
Because Evil Geniuses been kind of having mixed results due to the inconsistencies that we've been seeing. We see some matches where they're playing like the team that we expected them to be based on their previous track record coming from Evil Geniuses Prodigies and just a little bit of the experience that Soligo brings to the squad, obviously. But then, you had moments like one of the first games in the first week where they just sat by and did nothing.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case this series time around. Really well deserved for Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, great control as well, right? It's something that a lot of teams, we know that all these players are individually talented enough to make plays on the map. And the big thing is also being able to say, hey, we don't need to. We don't need to coin flip this. Tomio, I know you love going for these engages. I know you're, one of our hyper players that are going to be coming in, but just calm down. I'm Corky. We win. Just give me another 5 minutes and I'll win the game for you, and that's all you need to do.
Poke War just started to out-attrition TSM in the long run, and for them, they're still looking for another series win or even to be drawing up a series as they can just kind of mark and show that they are improving and that the results haven't just necessarily made it onto the stage. It's not their time quite yet, but for Evil Geniuses, congratulations to them. We'll see if they can carry this momentum forward in tomorrow's series, but when we come back from this break, we'll be getting ready for our second series of the day between Team Liquid Academy and 100 Thieves Academy.